This is GrantTalk, hosted by Libby Hikind, founder and CEO of GrantWatch and author of The Queen of Grants.
Hi, I'm Libby Hikind, founder and CEO of GrantWatch.com and author of The Queen of Grants, From Teacher to Grant Writer to CEO. I'm your host today on GrantTalk, and I am so pleased to have with me two young women who are working with the Art Services, Inc. of Western New York. I have Jen Swan-Kilpatrick, and I have Holly Grant. Jen is the director, and Holly is the grants manager. And they offer grants all related to the arts, a favorite of mine. As many of you know, if you've been watching these videos and listening, I have a minor in fine arts, and I incorporate it in everything that I do. So I'm very pleased to have them with me. And Jen, can you start off and tell us what your organization does?
Sure, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having us here. We're really excited to have this conversation. Art Services actually started about 12 years ago. We are located in Buffalo, New York specifically, but we serve the Western New York region through multiple counties. And really, we started because there was a gap in services in our region where there was no arts service agency or arts organization. And so really there was a couple-year gap, and local foundations and also our state arts council got together and said there needs to be something. And so we were formed as kind of the next iteration of a service organization, and that started immediately with giving out grants to the arts community.
And Holly?
Yeah, so I actually administer our grants and run all of our training programs. It's a big job. We have a great team here who help me out. But yeah, we reach a pretty wide range of Western New York and some grants across New York State. So we really appreciate the opportunity to come and talk to you about this.
And we post your grants on GrantWatch, and that's why you were invited to come. So besides talking about your grant, before we get into more details, let's tell our listening audience what happens after they submit a grant. What happens in your organization? Because even if they're not in Western New York, they want to know what happens to their application.
Yeah, so I can take that. We, the staff, primarily me, but we go through all of the applications that are submitted and just double check for eligibility. Once we've eliminated those that are not eligible, we take the eligible ones and send them to panel. Specifically at ASI, we use a peer review panel process. So we have artists and arts administrators from across the region representing all art forms who actually read the applications and make funding recommendations. So that process can take anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks, depending on how many applications we receive. And then once they make the funding recommendations, we submit that slate of hopeful grantees to our board of directors. They review the slate and all of the notes that we take during the discussion. Just double check for bias and make sure that everything seems appropriate and that we're comfortable putting our name on it. Once that is approved, usually gets approved, no problem. But once that's approved, then we start notifying everyone.
And Jen, what's your part in this?
Yeah, so really overseeing everything. I mean, Holly's great with her last name being Grant. She was meant to do our grants at the organization, but really having that umbrella, big picture overview of, here are the grants that we're giving out. Here's why. Our priorities that we place within the arts and cultural community. Maybe we identify certain partnerships where we can give out certain kinds of grants to individuals even who have never had the opportunity elsewhere. So I really, in a team effort with Holly, look over that, see where we can fill those gaps in the community. And then also a part of the process along the way, after Holly goes through all of those panels, I jump in, kind of look at those recommendations, same as the board. And then really just throughout the year, right? It's an ongoing process where we're out in the community all the time. We may have grantees or potential grantees who want to have conversations with us and just really talking about what opportunities we have available and how people can partner with us even more so, even if they are a grantee.
So you have more than one grant available.
Mm-hmm. Yep. multiple.
The after school programs and artist programs. Did we just miss a deadline for one of them that's in May? Is that you?
Yeah, we just had a deadline May 1st for arts program grants.
But it comes again next May, right?
It'll come again next May. We also have a couple of grant opportunities that will open up in the fall as well.
I see one a date November 15th, 2024.
Yes,
And then
Yep.
another one August 14th, 2024.
that's correct. Yeah.
If you're in Western New York, you really want to apply and take a look at it. And these are not large grants. They're like a boost to what you're involved in, right?
Yeah, so we primarily support small or micro nonprofits and individuals. So most of our grants are pretty small. The average gift size is around $3,000, but it really does make a difference for these individuals and organizations that are just trying to build capacity or just boost their work just a little bit.
And if they receive your grant and then they want to go for a larger grant, they can write that they've already received a grant. They've managed grant funds.
Absolutely, yes.
What projects stand out in your mind that you funded in the past?
Oh gosh, we fund so many. I mean, there's a lot of great arts activity that happens, public art programs, after school programs, in school programs. I think one that really stands out for me, it was actually a capacity building grant that we awarded. This is a very teeny tiny micro nonprofit that supports African American veterans through arts and cultural programming. They just needed a new laptop to do their work. And so we were able to give them $2,000 to purchase a laptop and all of the software they needed, such as like Microsoft Office Suite. And still to this day, their executive director just thanks us every time she sees us because her work is now more mobile and she can do it more efficiently and effectively. And it's just small things like that that really, this is why we do what we do.
They make a difference. They really do. They give that boost to the next program and the creativity. I love it. So after school programs, tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. We have a lot of individual artists that we fund who go into schools to run programs. This past year, we had a gentleman who did a music recording program for an after school, one of our schools in the city of Buffalo, which was really popular. The kids loved that. There's, art making, field trips. Sometimes if they want to go to an arts or culture venue for a tour, maybe a museum, something like that. It's pretty much anything you can dream up, we can fund.
We had another person on and she said that they have a motto in their office when they talk about GrantWatch. If you have an idea, there's a grant for it.
Yes. Love it.
So tell me, how has GrantWatch helped you?
It's really helped us get the word out. We also share your site and opportunities with our grantees because so many of our grantees they don't have development staff or departments or teams. We help promote everything that you are offering to our grantees so that they can find other grants easily. So we get quite a few
very happy.
Yeah, and then we share it out. And we've had a lot of people who've said, oh, I saw this on GrantWatch and I applied for it and got it. So we're really happy that you all are doing this.
No, when they get a grant, we send them a coffee mug.
Oh, I did not.
That's why it's here. They just have to let us know, give us some proof, and we send it out to them. Sometimes I go visit them.
Nice. Well, we will share them.
Well, that's really great to hear. We want to tell everyone that if they want to hear more of these podcasts and know about what goes on behind the scenes, listen to the people where the grants come from, they should subscribe to iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Subscribe will get the word out. And if you've won a grant, besides getting a latte mug, if you won a grant that you found on GrantWatch, we also interview grant recipients as well, because you have your own tips of applying. In my book, I write about grant tips, how to apply. What do you see are the main mistakes that people make when they're applying for grants?
Good question. Honestly, the biggest mistake is just not reading the eligibility or the guidelines. Sometimes it's a very simple mistake that just makes their application completely ineligible. whether it's individuals are required to have a partner or a fiscal sponsor, or maybe there's a budget line item we can't fund, but they put that in their request and it eliminates it. For example, if we're administering government funding, we can't support food costs or anything around a reception. And it's a very simple mistake, but a lot of people make it because a lot of what we do involves food, bringing people together and making sure everyone is fed. So simple things like that really.
Where they could show you that part of their program involves food, but
Correct.
the funds are coming from someplace else, right?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And we do a series of information sessions. I will go out and meet with people. We do draft review for our applicants, where if somebody wants to submit a draft before the deadline, we'll review it and give staff feedback, and they can make any edits they want and resubmit for the panel. So just taking advantage of all of these opportunities just to make sure that you aren't just making a silly mistake that can unfortunately eliminate your application from consideration. That's probably the biggest mistake we see.
And if they wait till the last second to apply, then they miss the draft review.
Right.
They miss going over the directions a number of times, and then they submit something and they wasted their time.
Exactly.
Time is money. Your time is valuable. Read the directions.
Yes.
And
that's exactly it.
I devote a whole section for that. And eligibility, make sure you're eligible before you apply.
Yeah. And if I could add to that too, I think, Holly and I joke between both of us in the nonprofit arts, and in particular in Western New York, I think we have 40 years experience that we've been reviewing grants and writing our own grants. And I think one of the things we see a lot is people creating programs for the funding instead of already having an idea or a program in mind and then using that to apply for funding. And sometimes you can tell that they're making it up as they go. And so they're not able to provide all that detailed information about their program, about their project. And so it's harder for them to convey that to the panel through the application process. So having kind of that idea already formulated in some way, at an intermediate stage.
So it's just gelling along the way. It doesn't exist.
Yep.
And when you show that you have something solid and you need this amount of money to enhance it, it makes more sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they have to show the need, correct?
Yep, correct.
Goals, objectives, activities, evaluation, a budget, which these are principles of every grant application. And some of them are 100 pages and some of them are 2 pages, depending on what the application is like. But you still have to have that flow. Otherwise, you're like, what are they going to do with the money? Why do they need that? They didn't mention that before. It's in the budget, but it's not in the narrative. Right? And you're smiling because you see this all the time, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, would you like to join our grant panels? Because that's exactly the conversations that we have. Yeah.
So what else can we tell our listeners about grants?
There's a lot. I think for us, being an intermediary and really working with small nonprofits and individuals, our entire goal is to help build that experience, demystify the entire process, and make grants more accessible. Once you get to a level where you're applying to major foundations, there's so much work involved. Most of the organizations we're supporting, they're not ready for that. They don't have the capacity to manage something that size. But in addition to our grants, we offer free trainings on various business things like marketing, budgeting, finance, just governance, all of that kind of stuff that really informs your day-to-day work anyway. So we kind of offer a whole wraparound support for those who are looking for grants to build their capacity to a point where they can move on and get bigger grants to do bigger projects and just impact more people in the community.
So connecting with you is really a godsend because the organizations can grow with your help.
That's our hope. That's our plan.
Arts is not just drawing, right? It's all arts.
Exactly.
Which art areas have you funded? Music?
We do. Yeah, we do them all. We're pretty liberal in the phrase arts and culture. Pretty much any of the traditional art forms, but then even going into folk and traditional arts, crafts, thinking about culture, museums, history, whether it's a person's personal culture they're bringing or something like that. We're pretty open. So we really ask grantees to explain to us how they think they fit into that arts and culture lens, and we take it from there.
Phenomenal. I'm very proud of both of you. And it's great that GrantWatch is connected to your organization and that we continue to have that partnership, quasi-partnership, whatever we want to call it, but that we refer each other and we just help young artists become artists and organizations enhance their programs. Because when you think about school, that's what you remember. You don't remember whatever the teacher was saying. You remember what you did, what you participated in, and that the art project stays and some people take it home and save it for years. I just recently gave mine from my children back to them. So I know that I used to have a wall on the way down to the basement, and every piece of artwork that came home was hung there. That was our museum. I hope that the parents are doing that as well, so that the children know that they're valued. And when they get older and they're artists in the community, that their work is displayed as well. So thank you so much, and continue the great work that you do. And you'll find these grants on GrantWatch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to GrantTalk, powered by GrantWatch. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this GrantWatch channel. Please consider subscribing to GrantWatch.com, and you can find the book, The Queen of Grants, by going to GrantWatch.com/book. Thank you again for spending your time with us.